Hello everyone, I hope you're well, hope you're doing alright. So I was just at the gym, and before I shower, let me share some information with you guys. You can easily be a profitable trader, okay? Even if you predict the markets like shit. Let me explain to you something. If there's two traders right now, okay? One is taking a trade through to the upside, another one is doing the same thing on another day, let's say. But let's say same size, okay? The first trader right here has an anticipation rate, a prediction rate of 70%, which means that every time this trader says that the market is going up, 70% of the times he's right and the market goes in his direction. Now, trader number two has a 20% anticipation rate. And that means that 1 out of 5 times only when he says that the market is going up, does it actually go up and hit his target. Now, for trader number one, he could just take an entry, place a TP, place an SL, and simply just walk away. I'd be like, okay, fuck it. I have a 70% anticipation rate. I don't need to do anything. I can just place an entry and let it be, and 70% of the times I'll be correct and it'll hit my TP and I'll be profitable. So I don't really need to do anything. And he can walk away. Now for this trader right here, he's only right 20% of the times. And therefore the majority of the times, shit like this is happening. And therefore he can't just come to the charts, place an entry, place an SL, place a TP, and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to walk away. He won't be profitable because he has a 20% anticipation rate. He can only predict the market with an accuracy of 20%. So what trader number two has to do is he has to create the risk management that accommodates his shitty anticipation techniques. So if he comes to the charts, let me give you a small example and explain to you things right here. But before that, let me just tell you what I'm talking about here. He can come to the charts, for example, and decide to start taking partials right there. Okay? So he says, you know what? 20% of the times I get it right, 80% of the times I get it wrong, and therefore I cannot just place an entry, TP, SL, and walk away. I need to take partials right here because of those 80% times that I get it wrong, the market can at least hit a partial area, then come back to my SL, and then I won't lose much, making those 80% losses not very heavy on my account, which can make me profitable. So the idea that I'm trying to convey here, that if you create the risk management that suits your shitty anticipation techniques or your shitty anticipation levels that you have right now, you can be profitable even if you're shit at predicting the markets. Let me give you a small example. I was just recently analyzing a certain journal, okay? And this journal, this trader, was trading normal break and retest systems. And I don't trade such systems. I am usually more of a liquidity trader, all that. However, that is the system that he was trading, and he came to me with his journal and he was struggling. And therefore we sat down to analyze it together. And that's like basically the system that he was trading. Like simply he'll identify an area, regardless of how he did it. The area would break, test, and then he looked for some criteria, zero, I don't know what they are, I didn't ask him. And then he tries to say that, okay, the market is going to continue in that direction, let's say. And therefore he tries to take a trade right here, places SL somewhere below here, and then just basically target whatever target he has in mind. 1 to 3, let's say, risk to reward ratio. Now, the problem with that trader is that he wasn't profitable, and this is why we sat down to analyze his journal. The thing is, I looked at his journal, and this is what I realized. I realized that yes, he's a shit anticipator. The majority of the times when he says, you know what, the market is going to retest and it's going to push and rocket through to the upside into my TP, he was wrong. That's reality. The majority of the times, he was wrong. However, I noticed in his journal that the majority of his trades did the following pattern. It basically tested his area where he wanted to enter. He entered, the market would barely push in his direction, and then come back to his stop loss. For the majority of his trades, that's how they looked like. And therefore he was losing, but he was getting a reaction. I told him, listen, let's try first to trail your SL to BE as soon as the market hits 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio and see how that will affect your journal. Now the problem that we realized later, I'm making this longer than it should, but the problem that we realized later is that the market came back down, hit his entry a lot of times, and then pushed to his TP. And therefore I was like, Roy, okay, if we do that, after looking at his journal, we realized that while yes, we save a lot of losses that ran barely in his direction, then came back to his stop loss, all these losses will be saved. However, we sacrifice a lot of wins as well because there's a big portion of his wins where the market pushed in his direction, came back to here, triggered his entry point, and then pushed fully into his TP. And therefore, yes, we were saving some losses, but we were sacrificing also a lot of wins by doing that. And therefore, the strategy became, I told him, listen, why don't we take partials at 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio? So we take partials as opposed to trailing our SL. This way, those wins right there that push through to the upside, can still be profitable. So you won't lose them, but you save the losses that push in your direction and then come back to your SL. Why? Mathematically, let me explain it a bit. Right here, if you take, let's say, 50% partials at 1-to-1, okay? Let's say you risked, initially you risked $100, okay? The market pushed in your direction 1-to-1, so you were up $100, and therefore what you did is you booked $50 of your profits out of the $100 in profits. Now, when you book half of your position, it means you also lower your risk from $100 to $50 because you closed 50% of your position. And therefore, you made $50 in profits. And therefore, if the market comes back to his SL and hits it, he made $50, loses $50, therefore that's a break-even trade. So all these losses that barely ran in his direction then came back to his SL, become a break-even trades, and the wins remain wins because he would take partials and then the market would push into his TP. What I just did right here is I told him, listen, you're a shit anticipator of the market. The majority of the times when you say that the market is going to go up, it's going to respect that level and push all the way into that TP, it simply doesn't. You're a shit anticipator of the market. But you catch reactions in a great manner because for the majority of his trades, the market did react to the level that he drew. However, so he's catching reactions, but he's not catching big movements. He's not an anticipator of a big movement. I told him, hone in on that. You don't need to be a good anticipator of the markets. What you can do is you can simply start taking partials, accept that you're a good reaction trader, you're not a great anticipator of the markets, accept that, and create the risk management that suits your level of prediction. And therefore, the shittier your predictions are, also, the more the risk management. I'm going to explain the sentence in a while as well. So, therefore, you're a shit predictor, but you anticipate those areas that the market reacts from, and therefore, by just creating this risk management, where you're like, okay, I'm taking partials right here, you save your losses and you become profitable. And therefore, you just create the risk management that suits your level of prediction. So basically what I'm trying to say is, regardless of what level of prediction you have right now, whether you anticipate the market with a 20% accuracy or 30% or 40% or 50% or 60%, there is a certain risk management plan that suits your level of prediction that will make your plan profitable. That's it. Because the mistake that people do is only trying to become better anticipators when they can be profitable even if they're shit anticipators. So what you're all working on consistently is you're all just trying to find these strategies. You're like, okay, how do I predict the market more accurately? How do I do that? How do I do this? But you can just have the level at which you predict the market right now, which is a shit level, be honest with yourself, and create a risk management plan that fits this shit level, that makes your shitty predictions profitable. That's how it can go. And this is what I did years ago. Now, you also need to understand that even the most profitable traders, they are not really good anticipators of price. The best traders, you can go and research it online, have a win rate all the way from 30% all the way up to like 60% tops. Those are the best traders. And therefore, even the best traders, they can't really predict the markets with, let's say, an 80% accuracy or 70% accuracy. So what they do is they're like, okay, you know what? I'm a shit anticipator. I can only predict the market to a 40% degree of accuracy. But that's okay because I can create the risk management that accommodates it, and make my predictions profitable even if they are shit. Now, I just said a sentence, I want to explain it. The more you learn and journal, the more accurate your predictions will be. The less risk management you will have to implement. So we saw in the beginning example, I told you that if a guy has a 70% prediction rate, he can just place his entry, place his SL, and not do any partials, nothing, just let his trade run. Because 70% of the times he will be correct, he will be profitable, he doesn't really need to do any great risk management when it comes to partials, trailing SL, all that. He can even increase his risk per trade because 70% of the times he will be correct. So the more correct you are, the less risk management you have to do. The more you can risk, basically, because you're more accurate. And therefore, what you do is, okay, right now I have shit predictions. What I can do is I can start journaling, writing about my trades while being profitable. I created the risk management that suits my plan. And now I'm journaling, I'm writing about my trades. I'm becoming better, basically. I'm learning. As I'm learning, I become a better anticipator. As I become a better anticipator, I can take my foot off the gas pedal when it comes to risk management. So slowly, I can build my anticipation techniques while being profitable. I can build my anticipation techniques to a point where I'm like, okay, now I don't need to take partials at 1-to-1 anymore. I don't need to trail my SL to BE anymore. You know what? Now I can risk more than 0.5%, let's say, because 70% of my decisions are correct. And therefore now I can afford to risk more. I can afford to risk 1% or 2% or 3%. So the better anticipator you become, the more you can take your foot off the gas pedal when it comes to risk management. So risk management also, it is not something that is fixed, that you decide and you just let go and run away. No, you decide your risk management according to your level of anticipation right now. And the more that level increases, the more your risk management plan decreases in tightness. So what I mean is you take less partials, you might risk more, you become more free with how you manage a trade as opposed to having constraints. So therefore, as I said, risk management is not something fixed. It's something that's continuously updatable as time goes by and you level up as a trader. And therefore, this is why I believe that any of you, as I explained the example of that guy right here, you can find a risk management plan. Even if you are shit at predicting the markets, you can find a risk management plan that can make your shit predictions work. And then as they are working, as you are profitable, you start journaling and learning about the markets a lot more, and you become better anticipators as time goes by. When I first started, I used to take partials at 1-to-1 and trail my SL to be at 1-to-1. That's how tight I was in my risk management. But then, as time went by, and I had a higher win rate, and now I can anticipate the markets better. On my most aggressive account right now, I just take an entry, SL, TP, 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio, and I just let it be without any partials. Because I became a better anticipator as time went by, so I took my foot off the gas pedal. That's it. I hope you guys liked that really quick video before I shower. Let me know if you liked it, and we'll talk again soon, guys.